Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why and how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me these little babies right here, your ears. Today, I want to talk about how do you close on a short-term contract, especially if you're in the service industry. Good topic. Usually, we talk about products. Today, I want to talk about service. Let me see if I can talk to you. Let's say you offer a service. It could be coaching, mentoring. You're an internet service provider, internet marketing company, whatever it may be. You're offering a service. Now, we have to admit up front that when you have a product, there's some tangibility with the results of that product. Or in other words, you can kind of measure whether a product is working or not. For example, when you buy a camera, for example, you know if it's working or not based on what you want it to do. So there's some metrics that you can use to see if it's actually performing. Now, when you're selling a service, you're selling the invisible, the intangible, and customers wonder, is it going to work? So, for example, let's say you're an internet marketing company and you're selling SEO services, right? Search engine optimization services. You're talking about enhancing their pay-per-click campaigns. You're talking about just doing different things to their website to improve the customer experience and improve the click-through rates or the close rates. But again, it's hard to measure sometimes. Even if you have conversion rates, you don't know what to attribute it to sometimes. So it's very difficult. If you're an internet marketing company, and again, we're just going to use that as an example, when you're selling a service and the client doesn't really know you, how can you close on that deal? Well, guess what? I have the answer for you because I use this strategy all the time. What I've noticed is that, look, in selling, I always say it's like, hold out your two hands like this. It's certainty on one hand, anxiety in the other, right? Certainty and anxiety. And our job as salespeople is to increase the client's certainty and reduce their anxiety. Let me say that again. Our job in selling is to increase their certainty of what they're going to get and reduce their anxiety to make them feel better. So that's sales in a nutshell. So back to selling your services. How can you reduce the anxiety or increase certainty? Well, here's one strategy. Again, I like to call it the short-term contract close. The short-term contract close means this. If I'm coming to you and I'm offering you a service, what I want to do is maybe I can't increase your certainty because you don't really know me. You've just met me. I've just put an offer in front of your face for the first time. So I can't really increase your certainty. I mean, I could talk. I can demonstrate that I know I'm a subject matter expert. I know what I'm talking about, and that will increase your certainty up to a certain point. But there's one thing I know I can do, and that is reduce your anxiety. How do I do that? By limiting the length of a contract. So, for example, if you're proposing some type of intangible service solution, customer says, I like you, but I'm not sure. What can you do to close a deal? Because you know what typically happens, right? They'll say, well, Victor, we really like working with you. I think it'll be a joy to work with you. But, right now, let's think about it. Let's find a way to work with you. And again, the deal continues. Nothing's ever done, right? A month or two later, same thing. You reapproach the customer again with a follow-up. Says, did you think about, a way we can work together, our proposal? And they'll say, yeah, we liked it. It's not in our budget. Let's move it out to next quarter. I also have to sell my management on this, my upper management. So that's the tough part about an intangible service. The person first has to believe it works, right? Who you're selling to. The person then probably has to turn around and sell it to their management, but it's intangible. So how do they know it works? So by using a short-term contract, here's what you do. You say something like this, Mr. Customer, why don't we do this? Instead of doing a lengthy one-year contract, why don't we just start out slowly, almost like dating, right? And what you want to do is in the proposal that you're going to submit, you're going to make it a short-term contract. So for example, if you are an internet marketing company, maybe you just want to say, let's do a 3-month experiment. And this is what it's going to cost. Now, let's slow down a little bit. Or I should say, I should slow down a little bit because I get excited about this stuff because this one works. Here's what we've done to the client. Because we've narrowed it down to 3 months, we've now given them a way out after 3 months if it doesn't work. That reduces their anxiety. Also, they're not fully exposed because all they got to do is work with me 3 months. And after that, if they don't want to work, guess what? We can just end it, be friends, and move on. The last part is it's easier for them to sell a 3-month deal, temporary arrangement, to upper management. So using a short-term contract really does work. One of the ways I like to use it, I use it a lot in my coaching programs with big companies. What I typically do is sell them sessions, right? Again, it's an intangible, right? It's a session I sell them. And so what I typically do is say, why don't we just do 4 sessions? That's 2 sessions a month. So let's do just 4 sessions. And after the 4 sessions, we'll make a new decision. That's the language I like to use. And the response is always like, yes, let's do that. That works. Because again, think of the psychology. I'm limiting their exposure. I'm saying also you don't have to spend that much. Let's not think about it. And if the results do work out, in other words, we do get along, we work well together, the marketing works, the selling works, then why not extend the contract? But I give the customer control of whether or not they want to extend the contract after, in this case, 4 sessions, or if you're an internet marketing company, after 3 months. So if you have a stalled deal, listen to me. Try a short-term contract to see if that moves them off a dime. Now, what's interesting is that sometimes people say they want to work with you, but they never signed a deal to work with you. By putting a short-term contract in front of them, you're basically forcing them. You're forcing their hand to say yay or nay, interested or not interested. What's interesting, and you might find this out, is that when you put a short-term proposal in front of them, they still may say no. And if they say no to a short-term deal, then maybe you have a bigger problem. But nonetheless, a short-term deal allows you to know whether they're interested or not interested. At least you'll know. So try this strategy. Let me know what you think. And that is it for the Sales Influence Podcast. Leave some feedback at iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, or wherever you're listening or watching. Love to hear what you have to say about this one. Also, when you're done with that, check out the Sales Velocity Academy. Again, we're adding some new courses, great content to help you sell more faster. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.
Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.